Beyond the pomp and pleasantries, Chinese President Xi Jinping invoked a warning from ancient Greece during talks with his US counterpart, Donald Trump. He asked whether China and the US could avoid the so-called Thucydides trap. It is the idea that when a rising power challenges an existing superpower, conflict can follow. More than 2,000 years ago, Greek historian Thucydides wrote about the war between Athens and Sparta. Athens was expanding in wealth and influence, while Sparta, the dominant power of its time, feared losing its dominance. Thucydides argued that this fear, combined with growing rivalry, made war increasingly difficult to avoid. The idea has been popularized by Harvard political scientist Graham Allison. He argued that throughout history, rising and ruling powers have often ended up on a collision course. Today, echoes of that rivalry is seen between China and the US.
President Xi understands that point deeply, and I think he expresses it perfectly. President Trump, it may surprise you, appreciates this proposition as well. And the two of them have determined that they want to not be caught into the Thucydides trap, not to have this relationship spiral into a war the way it has typically done in other cases, but to do what President Xi calls create a new form of great power relations.
For the Chinese leader, the phrase serves as a warning about how strategic rivalry between major powers can spiral out of control. At the summit, he urged President Trump against repeating the mistakes of history through dialogue and cooperation.
中美两国能不能跨越所谓的修昔底德陷阱，开创大国关系的新范式？能不能携手应对全球挑战，为世界注入更多的稳定性？
But as China continues to advance both economically and militarily, the term is used as a signal that Beijing wants Washington to accept its growing influence without confrontation. Despite hailing strong ties, Mr. Xi cautioned that the mishandling of hot-button issues could push relations to a very dangerous place.
我们一致认为，中美关系是当今世界最重要的双边关系。 只能搞好，不能搞坏。两国合则两利，斗则俱伤，应该成为伙伴而不是对手。